feel like I've had like my last partner, my most recent partner, the person I've been with, he was telling me at one point or another, he's like, not just from me, but everyone around him. As a man, people emotionally dump on him. It's no regard for his feelings. He's like, because I'm constantly consistent in the way I act emotionally, everyone around me feels comfortable dumping, from his mom to me to anybody that has all of these feelings going on, and they dump on him, and it does weigh on him. And I feel like because men don't outwardly say all the time, hey, this is a lot for me right now, like you're putting a lot on my plate right now, women don't second guess and think, oh, okay, well, this is a human too, this is someone that has feelings and emotions as well. Why am I expressing? Because it's not even just, I'm not limiting this to relationship issues. You have a bad day, you come home from work, you're dumping all your emotions and feelings about your day on him. Did you even ask if his day was all right? You don't know what kind of prejudice, racism, whatever he was just dealing with before you came home and dumped all those feelings on his plate. So I feel like there has to be better listening both ways and getting to know your partner. Don't try to win the argument. Don't sit here and try to, make it all about you. Sometimes it's just not about you. And I think when people do those self-assessments, and it's a self-assessment, you shouldn't have someone telling you, hey, you're being a problem. Take a self-assessment. Are you doing too much, or is what you're feeling valid? Why are you feeling that way? Are you feeling that way because something that happened earlier in that day and you're pushing it on your partner? Or are you feeling that way because something your partner did truly hurt you? That's just how I feel.
Well, ladies, most of the times we don't have the freedoms to do those things. We don't have the freedoms to unload like that. There's no space at home. There's definitely no space at the workplace. So where's a man to do that at? If he can't do it at home, where can he do it?
Well, my
So
And
question
that's
is,
why I
why are
think
you feeling
self-assessments
like
are
you
important.
can't do that at home?
let me finish. Y'all prime example right there. Y'all wouldn't even let me finish. I'm trying to unload, and y'all won't even let me finish.
It was a
Thank you for
pause right there, Hank.
thank you for being a great example of what I'm talking about. Ladies will not let us unload. They won't give us the freedom to unload. You won't give your husband or your significant others. I don't believe in calling a man a partner because y'all not equal. Your significant others a place to unload. Y'all don't. Y'all won't. And will you ever? I don't know. Maybe one day I would like to see that in a whole, but it doesn't happen. So men are forced to do other things. They have to bottle it up. They have to close it off, and hopefully they got some comrades they can talk to that they can unload with. And if they don't, hopefully they can seek out professional help through a therapist, through the pastor, or through some type of confidant that they can have that conversation with.
And that's
I
why I
agree
think
with.
I,
self-assessments are important. Like if a woman, and just not, if women in general take a second to consider what their partner might have dealt with in their day or what they're going through, my relationship lasts as long as it has because of the fact that I got to this point of asking, like, hey, what's going on with you? And making the home a safe place. If you don't make your home a place where your man can express and talk about his feelings and thoughts, and nobody's perfect, nobody in the world is perfect, but at some point, if you love that person, you need to take that evaluation of self. Am I being selfish? Am I considering this other person's feelings? Just because he doesn't speak on it all the time and how he feels all the time, that doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't have feelings. Women, we like to express our emotions because we want to get it out of our system so we could focus on the next task. And I feel like when it comes down to the men, if they're not getting that from you where they feel heard, then you're going to be mad when they start having somebody else sitting here listening and acting like they care, and they might not even have their best interests in mind. They're just playing a certain role because they know you don't listen.
I was just, and we can move on after this. I was just going to say, if the home doesn't feel safe enough for you to unload, then I do think that that's a moment for reflection on identifying what is the cause of that. Like, why do I feel like I can't? And then address that so then you can. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I say that is because I think my husband and I have transitioned in the ability to do that, where it was the check-ins. And this just started happening, I would say, over the last few years. I had told a story before about me coming into the home with, like, on my cell phone, like carrying on conversation, whatever. And then he pointed out to me that he wants me to stop that because he feels like it's a form of disrespect with me coming in the house on a phone, as opposed to acknowledging when I come through the door, to be able to acknowledge him or whoever's in the home by saying, hey, I'm home. Hey, babe, whatever, first. So his rule of thumb was, when you come in a house, I don't want you to be on the phone, and give me at least the first 10 minutes of your time, because I want to check in with you. We need to check in with each other. And so once he created, I would say, that environment in that space, that led to a better environment in terms of having conversation and filling things out. So I'll come through the door, hey, babe, whatever, I'm home or whatever. And then, how was your day? Both of us get that. And then if something happened at work, he's sharing that with me. Like this, he work around a lot of women. So a lot of times it's this, or, this is what happened or what have you. And then we have that conversation. And then vice versa, I'm able to kind of share with him. And I would say that kind of allows both of us to see what temperament each other is on. And if, I know he ain't in the mood for this, so I'm not going to even say nothing today about this, because I recognize he had a hard day. So I think that if you don't have a place to, like, your home should be the first place that you should be able to unwind and unload your mind. If not, figure out what's going on in a place so that it can happen.
Ms. Taken, let me ask you a question, and this question is also for the ladies on the panel and the ones in the chat as well. At what point in this relationship or this interaction, this dynamic, are you having those types of conversations about how you show up for that person? You know what I'm saying? Because one of the things I always ask women, how do you show up for the people that you care about in your life? You know what I'm saying? And what does that look like? And sort of that gives me a glass view inside of how you navigate relationships, how you value them, how do you, cater to certain people's needs, and how do you read the situation, how to read the room. A lot of people do not know how to read the room. They don't know how to read body language and those things. So I'm just curious, like, at what segment? Because we're talking about the established. Everybody's talking about the final product. I want to know what the things are like in the works leading up to that, right?
Well,
because
you're right, because I'm 20 years in now. We just celebrated our 20-year vow renewal last month. So it has. Thank you. It's been, like I said, an ongoing process that we had to learn in our younger years in terms of understanding how that communication happens. I can only speak from hindsight now, because in the beginning, I didn't have the skill set. It had to be developed. But one of the things that I can most definitely say is, as y'all can tell, I enjoy talking, is that the talking aspect helped a lot. Because sometimes I think what happens is what we think we're doing for the other person is the right way, because that's the way we want it done. And we end up missing the opportunity to show up for them in the way that they need. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is through conversation and understanding self. I could say I learned a lot from my husband, about understanding myself. There were things that I was trying to put on him and wanting him to fix about me, but he couldn't do that. I had to do that work. But where his work was pointing out those things that I needed to work on and giving me suggestions on how I probably could. But it was a whole lot of self-reflection. So the more I knew myself, I was then able to effectively communicate to him how I needed him to show up for me.